Hello and welcome to the New World Review, your source for everything anime and manga, and today we're going to take some time to talk about Demon Slayer, or more accurately, what I've experienced of it to this point. So for quite some time now, people have been asking me to watch and read Demon Slayer and make content on it, and while I can't promise that, I did decide to finally take the plunge, and my first impressions of the series are pretty damn favorable actually. To be clear, at the moment, I'm 7 episodes into the anime adaptation, which is already a very good sign, because usually if I don't like or I'm feeling a bit meh about something, I will have dropped it and forgotten about it by episode 5 at most. However, in regards to Demon Slayer, I suspect I'll be picking up the pace and devouring this very much as quickly as I can. I was pretty hooked from the get-go because it's always nice to see a dark shonen that isn't afraid to explore some of the more grim aspects of life, and I especially appreciate the tone and atmosphere set by the anime. I think it's done a wonderful job at creating a world that is very familiar and yet radically different, which makes me all the more keen to explore it further. As for the premise, I quite like the brother-sister dynamic going on here. I mean, it feels like a very standard shonen plot in some ways, the reluctant hero called to action by a tragedy and working towards righting something. You see this idea explored in a million other series, but so far it's being done exceptionally well here, and I'm more than happy to be on board for the ride. The main character, Tanjiro, is similarly familiar. He has a lot of classic shonen tropes going on, like the inherited special skill, and the drive to push oneself beyond standard human limitations. But at the same time, he brings a wonderful level of depth for a protagonist, and he's very easy to empathize with and cheer for as a result. As for his sister and driving force, Nezuko, I can't really say I've spent enough time with her to form a proper opinion. I mean, most of the time I've known her, she's been asleep, and I'm preparing myself for the potential that that's how she'll spend most of the series as well. Although I really hope that's not the case. At the moment, I'd say that she's simultaneously cute and heartbreaking. It's absolutely adorable to see her do things like dig a hole to rest in, but shortly after that effect wears off and the reality of her situation very quickly sets in. What I do really like is that Nezuko seems to be the more literal representation of a core idea of the series, which is the blurred lines between humans and demons. I mean, so far the series has gone to great length to try and state how radically opposed these two existences are, and yet most of what it's actually shown us says the exact opposite. Nezuko is the prime example of that, being at once human and demon, but it seems to be a very common theme. I mean, in the most recent episode I've seen, I got quite a shock when Tanjiro found Demon Boyo, whose name I think is Muzan Kibutsuji. I don't know, I haven't spent enough time with him yet, but I was shocked that he had a human family. You know, this figure who has been built up to be the most evil existence we've seen thus far was shown to be living a somewhat peaceful life with a human family. Now, of course, I have no idea how real any of that is or whether or not he cares for them at all, but the point is that the series is throwing that idea out there. It also does this rather nicely by humanizing select demons. In fact, actually, I think that every major demon that Tanjiro has come across so far, for me, has had their humanizing moment. The most obvious one being the big fat arm demon who even got a short flashback, and Tanjiro went so far as to comfort him as he died. And I love that sort of stuff because a series like this can really run the risk of becoming very boring very quickly through flat antagonists, especially when you're dealing with demons, because there's often no attempt to try and make them anything more than what they're perceived as, which is otherworldly killing for the fun of killing beings. Demon Slayer thus far has done a very good job with actually making me care about the primary demons we faced off against, to the point where it's often a shame when they do eventually need to be killed. So I'm very interested to see where this goes in the future, and whether or not this line of humanity and demonity is going to be blurred even more, to the point where it's completely flipped and there are some humans out there who are more monstrous than demons, or even if there are demons out there with more redemptive human qualities. I don't know if I'm hoping for too much there from a shonen series, but Demon Slayer has gotten off to a very solid start, so my imagination is sky high. And something else that I love about the anime specifically is the beautiful way in which it depicts things like Tanjiro's sense of smell, or his sword techniques with the wonderfully stylized water. I mean, I'm sure that's probably how it's depicted in the manga as well, but the anime makes these scenes flow phenomenally to the point where I'd classify them as a Class A visual feast. So I'm always excited when Tanjiro goes into battle, because I know that aside from some great action, I'll probably be seeing some cool stylized water as well. Furthermore, the music is near perfect and absurdly important in contributing to the atmosphere of the world. For want of a better explanation, I'm horrible with music, but it feels deep, as if it's old and established, like the world itself, and it adds that layer of believability and immersion to any given location or situation. It's also pretty hard to ignore the opening and ending songs, because you can never go wrong with Lisa. I mean, her opening was quite possibly the only saving factor behind the first Sword Art Online series. I think it was called Crossing Field, and you know what, just thinking about it makes me want to listen to it again. I was also a huge fan of what she did for the various Fate series, so to have both an opening and an ending from her here is a real treat. But yeah, there's not a whole lot more to say really. At the moment, I don't have any major criticism of the series. I think it's moving at a nice pace and giving our primary characters the time they need to really establish themselves before providing too much of an extended cast, which from the opening I know is probably inevitable, and I do look forward to it, but right now I really am enjoying the more small-scale character focus. Actually, just before I move away from this, something else I'm really enjoying is the prominence of masks in the series. I am a huge fan of masks, so Sakonji was an instant favorite of mine, as was the bladesmith who arrived wearing the clown mask. He was a nice bit of fun as as well, and it is good to note that Demon Slayer, despite its dark wanderings, is not devoid of humor. There are nice moments of laughter, even if it's only a small chuckle, and I think that is very necessary to break up the tone here and there. But that's about it for now. I'm going to end this video so that I can go and continue watching the series, and I'll probably post a final thoughts about it once the anime has concluded, and if it continues to hold my interest, then I'll probably move on to the manga as well. Whatever the case, exciting times ahead. And that pretty much does it for my first impressions of Demon Slayer. If you enjoyed this video and the content this channel produces in general, then please do consider donating to the New World Review Patreon, because the support of all of you amazing people is what continues to make this channel possible. And if Patreon isn't quite your style, then please do leave this video a like, share, or subscribe, because it also helps support the channel an incredible amount. And if you'd like to join the fun at any time, then please do head over to my Discord server, where a wide array of shenaniganry takes place on a daily basis. And finally, please do comment with your thoughts on Demon Slayer. This has been the New World Review, and I'll see you next time.